In this video, I'm going to talk about selection sets. So selection sets are basically just the group of objects that you've picked to include in some kind of operation that you're going to do. If you're going to copy some objects, you're going to move them, you're going to erase them. Once you enter the command name or click on the icon, you'll be asked to select objects, and there's a number of different ways to do it. You've probably already come across the one where, or you've used several times, where let's say I'm going to erase an object and I simply go around and pick it. I can add as many things to it as I want. What if you have a lot of things? It might be very tedious to kind of go through and pick them one by one. So you can use other tools. Again, if I'm going to do the erase command, this time, what I'm going to do is I'm going to left click over here on the left side. I've released my left mouse button, and now I'm going to click again. And you see from the items that are gray here, those items will be included in the selection set. Even though my window was touching a bunch of other things, it's only the items that were completely inside that window that will be included. Okay. And then I can press enter and it will erase all of those items. So that was a window. And you notice I went from left to right and we produced with that a blue box. If I reverse the direction of my selection, so again, I'm going to use the erase command. And this time I go from the right side to the left. I get a green box, and what was included in this selection set, it's everything that was inside the green box and also anything that was even partially. So that line right there was not included when I went from left to right and got the blue box, but it was included when I went from right to left and got the green box. That green box, or when you produce your selection set from right to left, it's called a crossing. So it's not just things that are in it, but it's things that cross the boundary of that box. So again, left to right, blue window, right to left, green crossing. Okay, so what happens if I want to include everything within a window, except maybe a few things? I want to keep them. I don't want to erase them. So what I can do is, again, left click, type in R for remove, and it'll ask you what objects do you want to remove, and you can go through and select those objects. Okay, so again, R would allow you to remove things from a selection set. Once I hit enter, everything will be erased except those objects that I removed. Another useful kind of sub option, let's say I do the same thing. I'm going to copy instead of erase. Let's do copy. And I pick these items. Okay, I made a window, press enter because I'm done selecting. It asks me for a base point and a second point. Okay, now I'll press enter. If I do the same command, copy, and I select objects, and this time instead of making a window or any of these other kinds of ways of selecting, I type in P for previous, it's going to go back and select all of the objects that were part of that original selection set. Okay, so, maybe I want to make another copy of it, and I can come down here and do that. So P for previous will put, we'll reselect everything that was in the previous selection set. All right, I'm going to undo. All right, let's see what happens when I do the move command. M for move, I make my window, and I basically move everything over there. And let's say I do M for move again and P for previous. Now it's going to select everything that I had moved. That's useful. I'm going to undo and bring it all back. Another way of selecting things is to use something called a fence. So if I want to erase only a few things, but maybe they're closely spaced and it would be much easier to be able to do a few things in one step. F for fence. And what I can do is click a few points and it's going to include everything that crosses this fence line. Okay, so F for fence. Now, keep in mind when you make these selections, if I do the erase command, and instead of releasing that left mouse button, I just hold it down. You can see I'm getting either a crossing or I'll get a window if I go in the opposite direction that's green or blue, and it lets me do some kind of irregular shape. So you may find that's useful. And again, to generate something that's not a rectangular area, you just hold down that left mouse button. So let's see here. Okay. And if I go the opposite direction, the clockwise is going to produce, basically the same thing as a window where it's only things that are inside. And if I go in the opposite direction, counterclockwise, I get that crossing window. So experiment with a few of those tools and you'll find that maybe it helps you to be a little bit more faster as you're doing drawings that start to get somewhat complicated.